Are we back online, folks? Are we back?
With them, just a second. I'm relogging.
Okay, so I'm reading the word
Yes, now it's working.
Great. Mr. Chairman, we're back online.
All right, good, okay. Back online, back on the agenda. Do we have anyone online?
We do not have anyone currently online, but we do have
Someone
in
in
person.
person? All right,
Our first speaker is Mr. Raytron White, 3149 Campbell Terrace. The topic to address is Brandy Village.
all right. Good morning, sir. Raytron, just a short notice that the speaking public comments are limited to 3 minutes.
Okay.
So our vice chair will maintain
Okay, cool. Yeah. Everyone,
where is that?
go. Good morning, everyone. Raytron White, Grandy Village, TMC President in Grandy Village, D. Raytron White. My concern and my comments are to the board and to Mr. Sims is our Grandy Village safety. This is the second time we've had some tragedy, entertainment in our neighborhood that we don't own and we don't have the rights to. And the comment is to have the residents to make sure they're safe. Communication is the key, which NRJ does not have yet, and hopefully they'll get it. To make sure the residents, let them know that they're safe in their communities, telling the community what's going on, things are happening, and we were behind you 100%, and let you know that you have a safe place to stay. Mr. Sims, we need some communication with the residents. They're calling me and asking me what's going on, just to ensure them that they are safe in their communities. It's been time we looked over. The first time nothing was said. They were so concerned about the employees and the residents. We're just as inviolable than the employees of NRHA, the people that live out there that make that community the best community. And if not Grandy Village, all over the neighborhoods, to make sure that people know what's going on. No one said nothing to us. A young man was found dead in a unit. None of the residents know. Nothing know what's going on. It's just the safety of people living in our neighborhood. We pay our rent, we do what we have to do. We don't have problems out there till somebody who don't live out in our neighborhood bring their problems to our neighborhood. So y'all, let's get together and make sure that the residents are very safe and knowledgeable what's going on, and we still behind you, behind your back if anything. If you hear anything, you see anything, call someone. They can't call our rent office. They can't call it. The people have called months and months, and I want to bring them down here. I said, no, let me go speak for you all on your behalf. They've called about the squatters, whatever it's called. But let's make sure that residents know they're safe. We understand, we hear you, and we're working on the process of making that still the best neighborhood in this country. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ray. Let me echo your comments. I don't want to ask a question, but I want to echo your comments because one of the things I think we recognize, the board and the staff and the executive team, is we need to do a better job of getting information, vital information about neighborhoods out to the community. So thank you. Thank you. Anyone else?
Yes.
All right.
We have 3 additional speakers. I will announce the first 2. The next speaker is Angel Bronson, 1225 Tidewater Drive. The topic to address is Section 8 Lexington Park. Immediately followed by Kiera Lassiter, and from the representatives of the New Virginia majority, no topic to address listed.
All right. Fantastic. Thank you.
There's only one person at a time. So who's going first?
Miss Angel Bronson.
Yes.
Okay.
Good morning.
Morning.
Come on. Yes. All right, my name is Angel Bronson. I live in Lexington Park, and they're supposed to be ready to come through and tear down. So I've been on the waiting list for NRHA for 4 years. So I want to know, is there any kind of way that I can get my voucher so I can have somewhere to go before they come through and do what they have to do?
Okay, so you posing that question to us?
Yes,
Okay, so I'm gonna let the staff, answer it.
okay,
So, Ms. Burnson, I can answer your question.
okay,
NRHA does not own, which we have clarified many times, we do not own Lexington Park. No, have we acquired Lexington Park? No, is Lexington Park
Yeah.
is going to be demolished. It's going to be renovated by the owner, but it is not going to be demolished.
okay, all right, thank you.
No problem.
All right.
Mhm.
I wish it was something good to help.
Okay, thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. So, the thing that I actually came above to address today was, we all know that they are tearing down Huntersville. So with that being said, or redevelopment, remodeling,
It's renovated.
renovating.
It's renovated, not demolished,
Or-
which I've corrected you on before
Okay.
in regards to that. I'm good with you.
Anyways,
Mm.
so I wanted to know, will NRHA assist them with some resources? In other words, like, will they have access to the Section 8 program, public housing, and other things that they may need? But just in general, I would like to address the behavior of our leadership. And it seems to me as if it's some type of second-class citizenship here, and there's a lack of respect when it comes down to regular everyday residents, and it comes to speaking in these forums and at these meetings. And there is definitely some differential treatment with us. And so I would like for communications to be better, and I would like to be treated as a person. And so when we come to these public forums, we only have 3 minutes to speak. And I understand that you have corrected me on things before, but when you're up here speaking, no one interrupts, no one interjects, no one is allowed to ask questions. But when we are speaking, we are often interrupted, like this morning. And I don't really appreciate that, because I have a mutual respect for you, and while you do speak, I am quiet. I am not on the phone. I am not dismissing you. So maybe we should start treating people in a more humanizing way instead of dehumanizing and belittling them. So that way we can form better relationships. The housing crisis is not going away. I understand all the efforts of the NRHA is not going away. I understand all of the efforts of the city is not going away. What's not happening is people who have leadership positions working collaboratively with the poor. So without the poor, there would be no need for NRHA. Without residents in the city of Norfolk, we wouldn't need a city council. So it's kind of funny how the same people who actually help populate and work all of these systems are oftentimes getting ignored, getting dismissed, shut down, getting belittled, and getting mistreated. And so if we can do better with our relationship part and we actually treat people in a humanizing way, I believe we would be able to solve the issues that no one has been able to solve. Is it really people aren't speaking, or is it that our leaders just simply aren't listening? Either way, we need to get on one accord, and respect is the key. It's a two-way street, and I'm willing to meet you halfway.
See you there.
Have a great day.
Thank you. Do we have another speaker? All right.
Our last in-person speaker is LaTanya Newby of 812 Smith Street, and her topic to discuss is Section 8.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, I'm here today because I'm seeking Section 8. I'm on this oxygen. I've been on this oxygen since April. In and out of the hospital since April. Well, I done got in my system asbestos, lead, mites, mold from my apartment, and so on. It's a 2-page letter. I also had commendation letters supposed to be sent to my doctors for me to be immediately moved from my data complex, from my data apartment, due to my health situation from that area. No letters have been sent off. No one has said anything. I also had them contact my pulmonary doctor, which nothing was done. So now I'm ready to seek legal action. So I'm trying to get some type of help to get out of there to better my health before I end up dying in that place.
Okay. You address the Smith Street?
Yes, a young terrorist.
Okay. I used to live in Smith Street, but it wasn't a young term. Okay, thank you, dear. I hear you. We hear you. The board hears you, staff hears you, and, we will speak to it.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
At this time, we have no additional, in-person speakers, but I will check the lobby, and
Okay.
we do not have any, questions on it.
All right.
Mr. Crawford said there's no in the lobby.
No one in the lobby. All right, so, at this point in time, we will, go to, no, we got the executive director has comments. Sir, you're on.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
So I want to get to a couple of different things in terms of the topic, in terms of the degrees of communication. We are there at the table. I'm gonna turn it around a little bit and be able to kind of address what I heard. Mr. White, we're definitely, at the table in terms of communicating. I can't actively communicate an active crime scene, an active investigation. It's very hard for us to do, but I do agree that we need to let people know in terms of things that are going on. We always talk about safety, and that part is very much important to us, and so we certainly will try to figure out better ways to do that. The Lexington Park piece I've addressed for several months now, and it's been conflated in terms of us being, and that's why I wanted to be very clear that I corrected this several times. We do not own it. We have not acquired it. It is already a Section 8 property on the Project Bay side of HUD. So that subsidy is different than the public housing or the voucher program subsidies that we administer. We do not administer that program until it's separately owned. The renovation, which it is a renovation of the existing property. It is not a demolition of the existing property. I have corrected that several times. And that is where I'm saying in terms of how it leads to misinformation and all of that. It is misinformation. And so, because I don't own that property, this agency doesn't own that property. And we have done our job to be able to say that we've issued bonds to help the renovation of that property so that that affordable housing can last, not be torn down. So that's the piece that we always talk about. I've been here 10 months now. And so that's the piece where I'm saying is very much important in terms of communicating correctly. I have, just as others, have a responsibility to tell the truth and be very accurate, right? Because I have, just like others, have a higher responsibility to be able to make sure that people are helped. And so I'm going to tell the truth just the way it is. We do not own it. We never acquired it, but we stand ready to help support its renovation of such. The facts don't change. You won't see NRHA there at any time. You won't see demolition at any time. You'll see renovation at any time. You'll see that, but that's not by us. So that's what I'm saying in terms of the misinformation. There's so much that we can do in terms of expanding affordable housing within the city of Norfolk. There's so much that we can do to help people in terms of move forward in terms of their economic mobility. That's the part that we don't miss. So we can play the games of the past and the division, or we can turn the page and move forward. I'm turning the page and moving forward. I've been here 10 months. I'm new to this community, and I've done a lot in that first 10 months. We stand ready to do more for the city of Norfolk as we go forward. I meet people halfway every day. People in this room, they know that all the time. I tend not to have a problem with anybody, but I'm not lying. And at the end of the day, I think people have to understand that people are lying about different things. And whether it's advantageous to them or not, I'm gonna call it what it is. And so, but what you can't say is you don't see us in our community. What you can't say is that you don't see us trying to reach out to people and do things differently. You can't say that. So I am open as an ED. I am open from a perspective of our agency to make sure that we have clear and transparent guidelines. Everybody is welcome to look at things that we talk about here. Our recordings, why we had to pause, because they're on all these are on our YouTube channel.
Excuse me, Nathan. Karen. Is she leaving? Is she leaving?
No.
Okay, all right. I want to see her, so that's why I asked you. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
So I just want to make sure that it's clear, because that has responsibilities at the end of the day. Like, if you want to be a leader, you lead, you tell the truth, you tell the hard things where it is difficult, and you tell people what you're doing to make it better. Ma'am, I would never lie to you and say that we own that and we tear that down. If we were tearing something down and say we're doing this, but we're doing that to be able to support, none of that is the truth. Ma'am, we will work with you to make sure that whatever documentation is needed to get you into a safe situation, we will do that. Because that's the type of leadership and that's the type of organization that we are becoming. Not this divisive kind of mess that doesn't get anything done. So I'm sorry, I came today to really talk about all the things that we have been doing, right? So I want to thank Barbara Ham-Lee for inviting me to come on her show in August. Why? So we could tell our story, because that was very much important in terms of telling our story as an organization, what we have done for 84 plus years in the city of Norfolk, what we plan to do for hopefully another 84 plus, because it's needed, it's necessary. But I'm tired in terms of a lot of the back and forth stuff at the end of the day, because it hurts our efforts. Nobody wins if we're here fighting. There's a lot of grievances in the city. I told everybody that all the time. Put your favorite R&B song to it, right? But it's true, and I'm not joking. But I am joking. But you can put your favorite R&B song to it. But we are out here. I thank her. I thank Barbara for her time to come on her show and tell our story. I thank the Virginia Pilot for allowing us to take the time to allow me to tell the agency story. I'm not as famous as Steve Morales, but I'm getting there. But we're going to continue to tell our story. So that's what we have to do at the end of the day. The relationships, the things that have to continuously change. Sarah, I'm here to meet with you, okay? But nobody wins in these things. So that's what I'm saying. So let's stop the divisive pieces, because I'm not a divisive person. Everybody in this room can tell you I might be firm on a lot of things, but divisive is not one of them, right? I'm here to solve problems and fix them. Let's fix them in real time. The people that work in this agency are not perfect, nor am I. But we come to work every day with the intent to do the right thing, make somebody's life better, right? So I can't let anybody come in and dehumanize, distort, or anything like that we do. That's what the responsibility is. When we go into these communities, I don't care if it's staff, board, whoever, we have a responsibility to tell the truth like it is. And if I don't agree with you, that's fine. We can definitely disagree. But what we won't do is distort each other's character. Won't do that. So communication is what we've been working on. You'll hear more about that from Leah Bird. Communication is what we've been working on, because it's important to make sure that people know what's going on, and we have to be connected. And people sometimes have to want to hear the information. We listen in terms of transportation needs, because that was important. And we provide transportation to grocery stores, which we have heard repeatedly about a food desert, to 4 of our communities now, to expand it to more. So those things are really important in terms of listening. Obviously, there's more stuff that we need to do in terms of improvement of our units, which we are working to do. The transformation efforts that we have that are important to do. Why? Because I'm going to continue to say you can't complain about set conditions of property, and then when we try to address set units of the property, that is a problem. Then how do you fix it? So I just want people to understand, whether you're in this room right now listening today in terms of NRHA staff, or if you're listening public right now or in the future, this is an organization that cares. We might have screwed up things in the past, but that we have to learn from that and move forward. That's the real thing at the end of the day. I'm new. I don't know. I barely know half the people, or majority of the people in this room for the last 10 months. I came into this job with not a negative bone in my body or any kind of preconceived notion. I sat down with a lot of you, right? Early on. Rachel, I thank you for that too, right? when I first got here. Because I wanted to understand what it is that people have experienced from NRHA. We've gone to different communities. Why? Because we want to hear what's going on. And everybody wants things similar, right? They want a responsive NRHA. The staff wants a responsive NRHA, internally and externally. Those are the things that we have to continue to work on. But guys, you can miss me in terms of all that narrative and all that negative stuff, because it's not helpful. It's not what we need. We need to solve problems. We need to work on things to continue to forge new relationships, and we will continue to do that. But this back and forth stalemate is not going to work. So with that, I'm open to answering any questions. That probably wasn't the thought and the theme of my remarks. Obviously, I do want to make sure that we are correcting, because I have corrected on multiple occasions the fact about Lexington Park. You can look at it in terms of our YouTube channel and everybody will attest that the board authorization, I made those exact remarks to clarify. You can look at the city council authorization in terms of the working session. I clarified that there. So it's not us that's telling lies. It's not. And I wish that we could do something a little bit different to really do that and to clarify things, and we are trying to do that. But there's a lot of people out here. And I know that things have historically not gone the way people that look like me and you, many of you in the city. I get that. But it doesn't mean that's where we stand. So leadership is understanding where you are with the opportunities that you have and how you can change the system. You see that in terms of the makeup of our board. You see that to the makeup of this leadership. You see that to the makeup of the leadership within the senior ranks of this organization. So I just want people to understand that, because anything less makes our job difficult, makes it harder for us to respond, and that's just not where we want to be. With that, I'll take any questions.
All right, thank you, Nathan.
Sorry.
Okay, we're at departmental update. Karen, I don't know the name before I see her. Okay. We're at the departmental updates, and first one up is administration, and well, she's here. Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Demetria Johnson, Deputy Executive Director for Administration. Just a few updates from last month. We're moving along with our year-end close, pushing for a target date in reaccommission by September 30th. We rolled out our FY25 budgets to our departments, and we started having meetings with those departments this week, and we'll carry on into next week. From a human resources standpoint, we entered into a contract to enhance our ADP services, where we can have online training where employees can go in and on their own leisure, their own time, and go in and pick whatever trainings they would like to take, from leadership trainings to Excel to finance to whatever. It's a vast array. It's over 72,000 trainings in the software that employees can choose from, and that should be launching soon. We've entered into the contract for that. From a Yardi standpoint, we're still on track to have to go live on July 1st, 2025. We meet at least 3 to 4 times a week with Yardi, and those that implementation is coming along. As far as this building, I know that you all, if you parked in the building, you notice that the gate is down. The parts are ordered for the gate. We're just waiting for parts to come in to have the gate repaired. And that's all I have for updates from last month. Are there any questions?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
There was a gate issue the other day, and the guy was there, motor was on, and I said, boy, that's gonna work you guys to death. I mean, jumping up and down when the cars are coming in and out, you know? But, thank you for being on top of it.
You're welcome. More questions?
Anybody else? Any questions? Thank you, dear.
Yeah.
Brenda?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, good morning. I would like to piggyback on something that Mr. Sims said. We are a group of people in this organization that really do care about the concerns of our residents. We each and every day sit at the table and we think about the ways to improve the lives of our residents. each and every day. Most of us sleep. We go to sleep waking up thinking about ways to improve the status of your homes, to improve your ways of being self-sufficient. We work together very diligently to do that. So your concerns are definitely very important to us. And we want to continue to hear those concerns each and every day because we are here to serve our residents at the end of the day. We're here to serve our residents. Our goal will always be to build those long-lasting relationships with our residents to make sure that you feel impacted in a positive way, increasing your quality of living. That's important to us. So with that in mind, there's a couple of things that we are definitely doing. One of those things is that we are going to we have an aggressive approach right now for the month of October and November. And that aggressive approach is to go into every single unit to do 100% unit inspection of the home to identify what those needs are so that we can bring your homes up to standard. So right now we are contracted with a group called the U.S. Inspection Group. They're a group that we contract with each and every year to do 100% inspections in our public housing communities. And so just for the community Young Terrace, within the next 30 days, we are going to take an aggressive approach to go in and inspect every single unit to identify what the concerns are. As well as that, we are also putting together a team so that as we are receiving those reports of those inspections, that we can go in and address those concerns immediately. But I do want to point that out because I think that is very important at this time. So just in October, as I've stated, we will begin Young Terrace and we will finish up the first week of November, all 700 plus units. That is the goal. That has already been scheduled. So Young Terrace will be receiving the information. Also in your board in the packet, you will see information on our new emissions. So I want to talk about that a little bit because we are definitely still housing families. We still have families that are excited about coming to be a part of NRHA, to be a part of our communities. So we are definitely excited about that. I know that, Commissioner, you asked last month about Young Terrace. And so I just want to tell you that of those applicants that we have 87 that remain. We did 30 on yesterday, and then we did 30 additional one on August the 14th. So we're down to 87. So that's a good number of the households that were out there that we have touched. Okay, so I just want to make sure I gave you that information. Also, if you look in your packet, there's information about the call center. And so the call center, our closing ratio right now with the call center sits at 76%. So again, these are the work order status for Calvert Square and Oakley because those are the only two communities that we have connected to the call center. There's still some kinks that we still have to work out. So if the question is, are we going to add in additional communities? Still not just yet. We want to perfect what we have, okay, before we move forward. Are there any other questions with anything that you have in your packet that you have from me?
Anybody? I just want to have a comment. I just want to say great work. Also, because I went to Brooklyn Washington High School, so I know people that live in Young Terrace. And some of the renovations that you guys have done, I've had people come up to me to speak on great work. Right? I know, the community does have some opportunities as far as, other things, other externalities. Kind of like Raytron said, we have issues with people coming into these communities causing issues and concerns. But people were really excited about the living conditions that have been improved.
Mm-hmm.
Very specifically, I've heard people say, I can't believe these units look the way that they look. They didn't expect it, I guess. I'll do a tour because I haven't seen them. But definitely we're very excited about what you guys are doing over there. And in addition to that, that's a very lofty goal to get all 700 units inspected. I like that expectation. you on taking that initiative. It's gonna take a lot of work and coordination, of course, you know, and I love the efforts for that because it shows that we care, right? And I know everyone's passionate about that and everyone has a need, and just being able to do those types of things. So I want to take my hats off to you for that. Say thank you for the effort, and I look forward to the follow-up and continuation of that.
Absolutely. Thank you.
I don't have to add on.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother.
You're welcome.
Who's next? Ms. Watson? How are you this morning?
I'm well, thank you. Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
I'm happy to report on the Housing Choice Voucher Program. Just in your package today, I did give you some statistics on certifications completed with the Housing Choice Voucher Program, as we are working diligently to administer the program appropriately. Throughout June 30th, we have actually processed 2,438 annual re-exams, 1,569 interim re-exams. And the interim re-exams were completed because our program participants had changes in their income and also changes in their household composition. We processed 729 rent increases where the landlords have submitted rent increases. We processed the rent reasonableness, determined that the amount of rent was reasonable, and processed the rent increases. We also had 207 new admissions. These are new persons that have come onto the Housing Choice Voucher Program. Many of the persons have come through our project-based voucher communities, which entails give Norfolk greater leasing power for the residents and citizens of Norfolk. We have 11 persons in our homeownership voucher program, and I'm really excited to say that we have one individual that came through the homeownership program, and in collaboration with HomeNet, she came into the program in 2017 homeless. And when I say homeless, an individual that was actually in the count. She was leased up at the Virginia Supportive Housing Church Street Station community. She had zero income at that time. She did not have any income and actually street homeless. Within 2 years, she took the choice mobility option, which individuals that live in PBB communities, they are able to get a voucher if they are in good standing. And in 2019, she received her choice mobility voucher. And by 2021, she had obtained employment and also received a home ownership voucher. So instead of us paying Church Street, the Virginia Supportive Housing, our landlord, every month we send her a check. She takes that check and combines it with her income and sends that off to Truist Bank. And I just think that's an awesome success story. Again, she was street homeless. Any person that comes through the Church Street Station, and they actually move into a single room occupancy unit where there's one room. Virginia Supportive Housing pays all of the utilities and also provides all of the furniture. But she moved from that choice mobility, received that voucher, obtained employment, and was able to have that employment for the time frame eligible for our home ownership voucher program. We do request, and it is a actual part of the home ownership voucher program, that individuals have to have at least $25,000 or above in order to participate. So she went from zero income to having more than $25,000, from a PBV homeless community to a regular voucher through choice mobility, and now in home ownership. That's just showing right there that the Housing Choice Voucher Program is working, and also being very, very empowering to our program participants towards being self-sufficient. I would also just like to let you know that our HCV inspectors, they continue to complete biennial, initial complaint inspections in Norfolk as well as in Portsmouth and in the city of Newport News. We're still being intentional in marketing landlords and getting new properties in our program. We are especially marketing areas of low poverty with high opportunities for program participants. we had 9 new landlords during the month of August, and we have a monthly landlord orientation to market our program to landlords. So we've been pretty busy. All of the information is actually in the package that you received. Do you have any questions for me? Thank you.
That is a good report too. I like the idea of us moving from homeless to home ownership. Awesome. Mr. Morales.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Usually, I always thought it was difficult to follow Julius, but now Pam is extremely difficult to follow, but actually Pam is a great segue. So this morning, I've kind of changed it up just a little bit. Instead of you guys hear me talk, I'm gonna turn it over to our homeownership programs director, LaShawn Fortune. She's gonna tell us about the work that she's doing. Yes.
There may be a question, Chair.
I will.
A question.
See, I just want, and I wanted to, Ms. Trotter is here, the young lady that I was talking about.
Congratulations, Ms. Trotter. Congratulations. And Pam, I just need to correct you because we actually have 50 HCV participants in a HomeNet program, not 10.
No, I was talking about using their voucher.
Gotcha, okay.
I know that many are working with.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So, good morning. My name is LaShawn Forge, and I have a phenomenal team that provides economic opportunities through our HomeNet program. We provide pre-purchase counseling, post-purchase credit, financial literacy. We oversee the HCV homeownership component in collaboration with Pamela's team, who's wonderful to work with. We deploy $60,000 in down payment and closing cost assistance. We have $1.6 million to deploy this year, and we are trending to spend all of that money. We have $800,000 in Homewood, Norfolk. That is for Oakdale Farm, Monticello, and Ingleside for families between 80 to 120% AMI. And we are trending to spend that money this year. We have a VITA match program for our families who come through the program. That is a 10-to-1 match. They put up $2,000, we give them $10,000 to go towards down payment and closing cost assistance. We also have the Spark program, which is a 1% down payment, 1% interest rate buy down. So right now, the interest rate's about 6.11, and our clients can receive a 5.11 interest rate, which helps them buy more house. We also have the acquisition rehab program that we are working with, and we are working with lenders, talking to bankers, and we have secured one bank who has agreed to allow us first right to purchase any foreclosures that come into the city of Norfolk. So we are expanding with our team homeownership opportunities. We also are gearing up to educate and bring on more CHODOs, which stands for Community Housing Development Organizations. We're gearing up for October to talk to our faith-based organizations and companies that want to become a part of the CHODO system. HomeNet is currently streamlining our processes and to ensure we remove any type of obstacles and barriers. We had a retreat in August. We brought in Virginia Housing to talk about the market, to talk about actually barriers to our grant program. And I wanted the team to hear that, so we can pivot, turn with the market, and actually redesign our program. So we are in the process of redesigning and streamlining our process. Last year, it was 177 days for clients to get through our grant program. Right now we're at 45 days, and the goal is 30 days or less, and we are looking and we are trending to get there next month, just by looking at our process and procedure. So we have a lot going on. So to summarize, what is it that we do? Opening doors to financial systems, providing access to traditional and financial institutions and below market interest rates by creating credit-worthy citizens. When our clients finish with us, they are accessing, market rate interest rates. They are now credit worthy.
We are bridging the wealth gap between social, economic, and demographic groups. That is huge for me, bridging the wealth gap for homeownership. We are offering diverse homeownership opportunities by deploying down payment and closing costs and giving our clients access to affordable housing throughout the city of Norfolk. We are creating generational wealth. You know, every time we hold a class in here, you know, every second Tuesday and Thursday of the month, someone walks up and said, you know, my mother took this class 8 years ago, and I'm graduating from Hanson, and she told me to come take this class. You know, or my niece, you know, went through the program, you know, so we are getting referrals from parents, from uncles, from aunts. We are encouraging community investment. I looked up Wavy TV 10. We had 2 of our board members in Park Place that came through the HomeNet program. You know, so when our clients leave us, they are communically and civically engaged. We are fostering in personal empowerment. Beyond financial benefits, homeownership creates a sense of personal accomplishment, okay, security, and independence. So as our community development department, our colleagues and I are busy, okay? As my chief would say, through transformation, preservation, and homeownership, we reach across every department in this authority and touch, and we are gearing up, as my ED would say, I got 300 homes coming for you.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we are gearing up to ensure that we have a robust wait list for our developers. You know, often in the past, you know, I've been here for 22 years, you know, we created that list. We created that lender letter to say that we have 20 people on our wait list waiting for one house. But what does that do for our developer? You know, that gives them the opportunity to take that letter to the bank and say, I have a pool of buyers ready. So they don't have to spot build. They can now go get financing to purchase. Currently, we have 284 people in our pipeline. 50 of those are ACV participants. Thank you, Pam. 10 of those are public housing. 1 is a Tidewater resident. The rest are citizens of Norfolk. So we serve all. And we serve them with dignity and respect, because as my colleagues are working with mental illness, we are working with, you know, financial trauma, you know, so we have to deal with them in kid gloves, you know, because when they come to us, they have to sit there and lay it all out. So it takes up to 2 years, you know, for a client to get through our process. And that's not because most of them aren't ready, but they have credit issues, you know, whether it's we call it life happens, whether it's divorce, whether it's loss of job, okay? But also the piece you don't hear is the post-purchase, when a city calls me because a council person calls them and they send over a client who's 3 months behind on their mortgage. You know, so we just had actually a Civic League president come through our program and who was able to get on track and also acquire, we called Virginia Housing, and we was able to get her some mortgage relief money. So the things that you don't hear that we do, but HUD love, you know, to hear about, because those are the things that stabilize our community. So we're here to not only get them to access homeownership, but we want them to sustain homeownership for the long run. And what I heard my colleague Brenda say, you know, we care, because every person who graduates from this program, who purchase, if they're public housing and HCD only, you know, they get my personal cell phone, because not only I want them to be successful. You know, sometimes on a weekend I have to say, okay, can this wait for Monday? You know, because they forget, okay? You know, so I'm creating, you know, boundaries, but I want them to be successful long-term, as each one of my colleagues here does as well. You know, and I often tell, we were in a meeting with my ED and another ED of an agency. You know, it's a lot of hurt in this city, and I had to tell that person, my ED cannot carry the weight of this city. He's only been here for 10 months. And when I say, you know, and I said I've been here 22 years, I remember I used to wake up, you know, happy to come to NRHA, okay? And I still love what I do, you know, but since Nathan has been on board, and I'm gonna share this with the board,
You know, now he got us hopping and he got us running, and we need to take our vitamins. But when I see what he's done in 10 months in the community, you know, what we're doing in terms of development, because we were really out of development game. So to be able to wake up and say we got homeownership opportunities, you know, that's speaking my love language, because I know long term that is the only way our clients are going to be able to get ahead and build wealth, stability, and pass down generational wealth. So with that, I thank you for allowing me to come and speak, and we got some great opportunities. And I'm going to end with Brenda Smith.
I was going to say, actually, before you do that, also bring it up.
Through our retreat, we came to, who saw the bell coming in? Okay. All right, so through our retreat, I took my team off-site, thanks to Truist. They allowed us to use their beautiful boardroom. If you guys ever want to meet it, call me. And we was, now this is really, a retreat you want to get off-site, right? You don't want people walking by, okay? And we was able to put up all kind of Post-it notes, and we came up with different marketing strategies. So one of the things that we came up with, ring the bell for success. So now every time someone purchases a home, we're going to invite them up. We have gifts for them, okay? And not a lot, but it's a candle. It's a welcome home, okay? And we're going to celebrate them, you know, with our team of lenders, the realtor who helped them, you know, and our team as well. So I hope you guys, you know, see the transformation. And that was one of the biggest things too. You know, what do you want this to feel like, you know, when a client walks through the door? You know, we wanted it to feel less governmental, you know, that we're here to serve and we're here to help. You know, so we came up with the ring the bell to success. I'm really, really, really proud of, you know, that, as well as my lenders as well. So one more story, Brenda Smith, who just purchased, she came in the program in 2015, and that's in your board packet. So 2015, think about that, $25,000 in debt, divorced, okay, trauma, didn't know where to start. And she said it was the hardest thing for her was to release control because of everything she's gone through. You know, so she just purchased, you know, a couple months ago, her first home that she's ever purchased, and she was thankful, you know, for our services and our help. And she was, and she's really a ray of hope because the organization she works for, she said, now I can give hope to the people I serve because I am a walk-in testimony, you know, of what being steadfast is all about. And she left us with, I said, well, if you can tell, you know, other clients, you know, what was the most important thing? She said, take one bite at a time. She said, because it's overwhelming. When you say you have $25,000 in derogatory debt, most people give up and have no hope. But through coaching, because that's what we do, through financial coaching, through encouragement, you know, we keep them going. You know, so she said, tell everybody, if you just take one bite at a time, one step at a time, you will get there. You know, so it starts from us housing to our client services, our HCV, to now we are building wealth through homeownership. So once again, thank you. Steve, you have anything to say?
Well, before it does, I heard you say that part of this process, really speaking your love language, she might need a little lead time, Steve. That's homeownership process.
Let me tell you something. I've always lived my life purposeful. So when I wake up, I can truly say that what I do is purpose-driven. It is truly my mission. And my kids always tell me, you know, well, Mom, I wish I can find something that you love so much because when I come in here, it's not work. Because, see, I know what homeownership has done for my family, generationally, okay? And I bought my first home at 21, you know, so I know what that equity does, okay? And I know how that has set my family up for the next generation. And I know, if y'all haven't heard, I got 2 beautiful grandkids, and that wealth will be passed on to them.
Yeah, I was testing.
I know. But they tease me all the time. They tease me all the time. Thank you.
I did have one thing, I'm sorry.
Yes, sir.
Real quickly. One of the things that I did hear you say that I thought was pretty impactful was how, you follow up with people after the homeownership process, and you had someone who was behind. And those are the type of stories that I'm told, right, continue to maintain. I know that's very difficult, and, you mentioned that you have about 50 people that are ready to purchase, right? So my question to you all, because it's like 3 layers, you have to get people to where you want to be. Once you get them there, they buy a house, track them and make sure that, and essentially that they stay on track. Well, what about the people that are ready now, that are waiting, and they're new because in the communities that we serve, financial literacy is learned, right? It's not passed down, right?
It is
learned, and it takes time to continue to make it a habit. So what about those people who are ready now? And even like when you're going to buy a house, like the lender will say, don't go buy any furniture, don't get a car. Right? Like, how do you keep people on track while they're waiting for us to build new homes? Right? What's that work like, right? I know it's difficult. It's not solely in your responsibility as a coach, but what do you guys have in place to say, hey, I got you here, you're ready. A house may not be ready, but here's our continued game plan until it's that time.
Through coaching and we do a lot of hand holding, okay? And that is one of the things we harp on, that you don't want to buy the car and you don't want to buy the furniture to fit the house. That's another thing. So that's changing the mindset, the buyer's, psychological mindset, because they want to start buying, then it's like, oh, my bed doesn't fit the bedroom, okay? So if you're working with them and they have to touch them every 30 days, so that's a lot of touches. That's a lot of phone calls, okay? And then we send out New Year's, when you get that check, tax return, okay? Make sure you get in here and see your counselor so we can talk about what you need to spend that money on. So when they're lender ready and they're buying their home, they have worked so hard, we don't find a lot of fallout. Now, I had one, and he was public housing, and I remember I was much younger, and I wanted everybody to buy, okay? So if they go out and buy that car, that means that's a win for me now because they weren't ready. Because I'd rather for them not to be ready than to get in that house and lose, right? So when they came back and we realized, and I remember the payment, it was $580 because it was my first house. And so $580, and I said, how long is your car note? In 7 years, okay? I said, I will see you in 7 years. But you know what? He came back, and they bought a brand new house in Berkeley. So it took them 11 years to get there. But so for me, it wasn't a fail, it was a win because they weren't ready. But that's far few and in between. Most of the clients that we prepare are very successful. And then the pieces, we try to keep that connectivity, because, we always say life happens. But I want them to pick up the phone, because don't come to me when it's at the courthouse step. There's nothing I can do for you. But if you get to me early enough, I can help and support you and navigate you through that process.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
If I can just say something, we use the term care, and the thing is that the things that have been described here are the substantive manifestation of what it means to care. And so we appreciate the effort that you bring forward on a day-to-day basis in the trenches, demonstrating what caring looks like.
Thank you, Dr. Smith. Appreciate it.
Up to take questions, but also to put one more comment on it is a lot of what LaShawn talked about isn't in a job description. There's not someone coming out here and telling you this is how you do this. This is, and Dr. Smith, thank you for saying that. It is about that. They care and they think about how do I need to, in order to accomplish my job and help these families, what do I need to do? So they make lots of touches and go above and above and beyond. The other one little sort of last comment on that, and this is really for all the folks with the authority. Again, LaShawn touched on it, is what development's trying to do. We have transformational projects like St. Paul's. We have preservation projects like we're doing with the mid-rises, as well as the capital fund projects that we're doing in each of the individual communities to make improvements. And then we have home ownership, and everybody in the authority is touching little bits of that throughout. So one thing that I think about is when somebody rings this bell, that's for the client, we're celebrating the client, but it's also for the agency to hear that's success, and that's success that all of us contribute to. We don't just accept that as like, this is something our group did. No, that's a success for the authority, for us all. So it's just a good way to do that. With that, are there any other questions from the development report that we had this month? I know we've taken up way too much time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Who we have now?
Communication.
Oh, okay. Superstar and, social media.
Good morning. Good morning. Just wanted to give some brief updates to some things that are in the board packet and some things that aren't. Starting off intergovernmentally, we're making some strides. We're getting in front of people, and when I say we, I mean Nathan. Had the opportunity to meet with Congressman Bobby Scott. So that was a great conversation, my understanding, as well as Senator Angela Graves. I've had the opportunity to have an audience with her. In a couple of weeks, Nathan will have an audience with 92nd District Delegate Benita Anthony. I think that'll be a very good collaboration and relationship with us because all of her district consists of, to some degree, NRHA housing. So I think that'll be a powerful connection for us. Social media-wise, we're doing well, have gained another 51 followers on Instagram. Of course, we don't hang our hat on social media, but that's good because the people that we're interacting with are people throughout the city. So people who started following our accounts, City of Norfolk, again, Angela Graves, Bobby Scott's office, Danica Royster, those type of people are following our posts and they're interacting with the information that we're putting out so people know what we're doing. With regard to media relations, and again, when I talk about media relations, I'm talking about Nathan. I had the opportunity to sit down with the Virginia Pilot, and you all probably have seen that article. Great article. It's getting very good traction on social media. Actually checked in on LinkedIn today, and there was someone who commented and said, hey, I can't get the link. I want to read the article. No problem. Here you go. It's posted on our website. So we're making strides with that. Media relations-wise, we'll be on site today at Partrea and Cottage Bridge where the mayor will be. So we'll be sure to get pictures and make sure that people know that we are in tune with what the city is doing and those type of conversations. Also, I had the opportunity to meet with my counterpart at NPS, Mr. Walker. He's the director of communications there. From that meeting, as a result of that meeting, NRHA tonight will have a presence at the Equity and Excellence Learning Center Expo Fair that's at Ruffner tonight. I think that's a big deal for us because we will then have an audience with schools, PB Young, or I should say residents and families from PB Young, BTW, my alma mater, Jaycox and Ruffner. And we're in the house. All right. So we'll be able to have an audience with those families. So we'll have client services on hand. We'll have other representatives from the organization on hand so that those families know what NRHA has to offer, right? We're a housing organization, but we also have wraparound services that can benefit you and push you further. So that, I would say that is our NRHA Shirley Chisholm moment. We weren't necessarily invited, but we're showing up with our folding chair to let people know, to let people know what we have to offer. Lastly, as we start talking about communication and making sure, like Ray Tron said, that we're communicating with the neighborhood, we're working on getting our newsletters back up and running, and we're looking at getting them also in a digital and a calendar format. We found out that that's what some of the residents are kind of asking for, just knowing exactly what's going on. So we're working on getting that getting that up and running, a digital format, except for the senior communities. They've they like a piece of paper in their hand, which is fine with us. So we're working on getting that up and rolling and having that lined up with our website. So that is what I had. Have any questions?
Nathan, can I ask you, and the only reason I'm asking you is because we don't want to start directing you from the commissioner's meeting. So I'm going to give it to Nathan,
Okay.
and he can work with
Gotcha.
But can we get a, strategy about how to best use, how to best get information in the community that, we can use as a sort of intervening, format to inform, given what Raytron spoke on earlier today.
Yep.
Get a plan, think through and get a plan on how we can do that on a consistent basis.
Yep.
And when there is a danger or threat to the community, because I didn't know about the guy in the, apartment either, and I found out through a neighbor of mine.
Mm-hmm.
Did you hear about the guy, Mr. Albert, that they found dead in the unit? And I said, no, where was that at?
Mm-hmm.
So, I think your comments were spot on, but maybe Nathan can work with our information specialist and get a strategy about how to preempt, this thing before it hits public, get it out to the community. Here's some threats that are going on. Here's some things, here's some work efforts that are going on. There's a hole and so on, you know what I mean? So,
Okay.
that's it. Is that still within your purview?
It is within my purview. Yes.
Yeah, like the comments that are made as far as communication. I get both sides, right? Like listening to it, I get both sides, right? Like, I think we had a shooting when the kids, the youngsters, the kids were on their way out of school, right? Like the thing about, just figuring that bridge is like, how do we, we're not the police, right? Of course, we're not the police, but how do we warn people, right? Like, do we have a hotline, right? So that if something does go on in the community and people from the community can help us to better send out something in the mass, right? What kind of program can we put together, right? Because we do want to communicate, but a lot of us don't live in the community,
right?
And all of us get our information for the most part from the news.
Yeah.
But once it's reported, right? Like he just said, he didn't know about it because he doesn't live in the community. Right. People that live in the community are going to know first, right? So how do we empower the people in the community to be able to help us to spread a message that, for one, true, and it allows other people to be engaged and aware of what's going on.
So I think part of that, and Leah has already spoken to it a lot, is the partners involved in the conversation. So what you were referring to that happened happened across Young Terrace and Capitol Square, right, in 3 areas, one incident across three areas, including the school. So that's NRHA, that's Norfolk Police Department, and Norfolk Public Schools. So everybody has to be on the same page. And so even internally, we have what is referred to as Code Red. And so Code Red is a text format. So if something happens, that's fine. But that's a good example in terms of just the system itself, because someone had to come back and say, hey, it started as it's in this community, and then it was like, nope, it's there, yes, but it's 2 other places that stretch over into the next community. And so how we get to our kids, well, that's Norfolk Public Schools, and so having that degree of integration is fine. Karen and her team, the security team, have that integration already with NPD, right? So in real time, we're getting information, and so that's why I was saying, to Raytron, which is true. I mean, we can't do things sometimes in real time because we too are trying to understand what is happening in real time. The first thing I'm thinking about is, what's going on, where, and now I'm seeing that it's over two places. So now I have to worry about 3 things really. I got to worry about our resident, I have to worry about our staff and where they're going, if they need to be, and as you can see, these are large communities, a lot of people are on golf carts and stuff like that. So they have to, shelter in place or seek safety. So it is one of those kind of things where I think we're doing the right thing in terms of retooling the system. And so, the first thing obviously I'm thinking about even in that instance is, okay, well, what happened? And so, and part of that is just understanding what happened. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if I can I think we should tell people to be able to shelter in place if something is happening. But I may not be able to say on this day such and such happened, and I know the particulars of it because it's an ongoing investigation. So I think it's a work in progress.
Yeah, and I'm with you on that because once again, one of the things I think about, who activates the Code Red, right? Are you going to go off of resident information that could potentially be false information or not 100% true, right? So I think there is a natural delay in the communication because we have to verify that the information is correct before you're putting it out, right? So I think that's something that we also should let people know as well too. Hey, you might have known 17 hours before, but we can't just put anything out because of the agency and liabilities associated with it, right? So just some fair and transparent conversation in reference to that.
Let me just say, my thoughts on this, and I don't want to belabor it, but I don't want to see us get stuck in paralysis of analysis. I think, you know, part of what I wanted, and I think what speaks more to what Rich was saying, is sometimes we just need to say, just plain and simply, you know, we received information of a pothole on Kimball Terrace between so-and-so block. Not analyzing who's doing it, not analyzing how deep the hole is, or deal with, just so that the public can make their own decision as to how they, now this was my, it may be that in the comprehensive strategy, you might come up with some other things that you will add to that, but it was my, I think, and it speaks to, and Rachel, I'm speaking out of school here, stop me, because I think the intent was just let us know. And that's gonna take 20 days to say, we're trying to figure out who's out there shooting, active shooter in Randy, AKA police department. You know what I mean?
But I think it goes back to, so what you're saying, I think is exact. I can tell you exactly in terms of what we need to do. Co-Red, everybody internally signs up and gives their contact information. So I get it on my personal cell phone as well as my work cell phone.
You do?
So I do. And so, and I talk to Karen on a regular basis, so she knows how to reach me in real time. And so what we need to do is not only just have a strategy, but then it means that we have to have people's communication information as well. So if we might have people's house number, but we might not have their cell phone number, or they might not have a cell phone, so, or email blast or something like that. So we need to figure out from our residents, which is similar to what we're talking about in terms of newsletters and other forms of communication, how do you want to receive information? And I think if we can figure out how to receive, how folks want to receive information, I think it's easily, you could easily replicate a code red situation externally.
All right.
Thank you. Sure, thank you.
Okay, client services.
Good morning.
Good morning. Chief Engagement Officer. What's working?
Client Services Director. Client Services Director. I'm gonna be very short today. You have information on your packet, what's going on with, client services. But I did wanna, as you look at that information, if you have any questions about it, that's in your packet. It talks specifically about, client service and workforce development, community engagement, youth services. And one of the things I just wanted to say, just want to read something again that's on the top of in your packet. And it always starts off this way, and I have to piggyback on what my colleague has said earlier. It's a guy by the name of Mr. Nathan Sims. I have never seen so much work in my life. He's got us moving. But the great thing about him having us moving, I now see how we are actually looking at how we're connecting the dots of what it is that we do and looking at the big picture. But the background what I wanted to say is community and partner collaborations have brought fresh perspective and innovative ideas to the table. Unique talents and experience that many of our partners have complemented or brought to us a vision of how NRHA can even be more perfect. Our continued efforts in honoring and supporting residents in our communities create a positive impact and improves the quality of life for our residents. And the reason I wanted to say that is that we are not a panacea for everything that happens in the city of Norfolk, nor are we just panacea for everything that happens at NRHA. It takes not only NRHA, but it takes our residents to engage in the efforts of what we're trying to do in terms of providing safe, quality housing, affordable housing, and most important, to help enrich their lives. I enjoy listening to each one of my colleagues as they're talking, because they're genuine in terms of understanding what it is to serve. They're servants, and they know that they're servants. So all of us, we serve, and it's not in a job description of how well we do our jobs. It's not in the job description when you go over and beyond, because it's what you do. And I just wanted to state that. And I personally, I grew up in public housing. And as I look at a gentleman by the name of Raytron White, I remember when he was a kid, and believe it or not, he was in my program, and he gave it to me big time when he was a kid. Now he's an adult, and he still gives it to me. But the thing about it is that he does it with respect, and he does it for the love of his community. It makes us better. So it's a way that we do it, and the responsiveness that I want to say is that we would love to be proactive and looking and engage, but the responsiveness sometimes is that we have a food deficit in Young. So we respond to looking at how we can provide transportation to get those residents to areas where they can get fresh fruits and vegetables to transport them. We have other areas within our communities when we're talking about civic engagement. We have a guy, Corey Brooks, I'm looking at him right now, that we have the mayor. We have city council people who are engaging in our leadership efforts within our different communities, especially also in our senior communities. We have FSS, and when I look at what we do with FSS, we know through client services we can get them to a particular level, but with our HomeNet, with other areas, they take them over and beyond. So we understand what it is that we need to do to serve our clients. And all we're saying is that we're not perfect, but we are truly working hard. So one of the things, once again, I have to bring Nathan Sims up. He told us some weeks ago, he said, the key words are, and I wish I could imitate how you speak as well as I can do. But he said that looking at communication, coordination, and accountability. Communication, coordination, and accountability. And I think with those efforts that we can accomplish a lot. One of the things, as I'm looking at one of my other colleagues, Ms. Brenda Fleming, in July the 1st, Client Services actually inherited our Resident Services Department. So it had been a thought that we would be not as efficient in our services, but through that collaboration, it's a natural what we call alignment, because that alignment allows us to look at every situation that a person would have in our community who are looking for services, from job training, from just simple, from things of mental health. We're able to engage in any way possible, but it's not that we have the answer to it all. The key is through our partnerships that we're able to collaborate. So we have partnerships now that we have gained through just the meetings and the innovation and the energy that's going. That I think we're doing a better job. So I'm going to end by saying this. Any questions?
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, anything from finance today? I know I saw, anything from finance today?
No, it was, Demetria covered that. That was part of the update that Demetria gave.
Demetria did that?
Yes.
Where was I?
You were there.
Okay, any committee updates outside with you, Dr. Philip Smith?
We had a very productive meeting on Tuesday. Ms. Johnson and Mr. Davis, who's the compliance director. I really applaud Nathan for the quality of the people that he's brought on here. Their experience, their insight, their perspective on what we're trying to accomplish within the domain of finance and related issues is quite refreshing. There's going to be a lot of work here. I quite frankly, what was discussed is beyond my capability to relate to the board. And I've asked Nathan to put together something that can be shared with the board that will be far more comprehensive than I can offer. But I'm very pleased with the direction that we're going in developing a dashboard and policies and procedures that and oversight and compliance across the spectrum of the operational elements of the agency.
Thank you, sir. I have some comments I wanted to make to the board today. I'm not gonna make them because we have a large segment of our board that's not here, very unusual, with 3 of our commissioners out. So I won't make them. I'll wait until next month. But you know, I appreciate the input from my colleague here on the Board of Commissioners. I want to say more about it, but I won't until next month. Elvin, any committee?
Yes, please, and good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Thank you. On September the 3rd, we met with the Public Housing Committee. Today, I just wanted to kind of lean in and listen in to hear what happens in the committee and what is given to us from many of my past colleagues in session today, how it dovetails together. And I see a great deal of connectivity of what is happening in our committees, as well as what is happening from the staff of NRHA, and especially with the leadership of this executive director, who has been in every committee meeting that I've been attending, whether it's public housing and or the economic inclusion committee. So on the 3rd, we met with, of course, and the executive director was there, Mr. Clark, Mr. Steve Morales, Ms. Fleming, Ms. Karen. A lot of great information is given out. And we are moving forward. There is accountability. There is accountability that is discussed in these committees. A lot of the information that we've heard today was shared with the committee from the security and across the board. All this information has been coming forward very nicely. Again, if there is something that you're concerned about, address it. Let us know. We talk about these issues with the ED in real time. And so when I heard him expressing his information today, it's nothing short of what has been expressed when we meet in committee. And so that's important. I believe in the accountability because I worked here for 20 and a half years. Mr. White, and we go back, Mr. Norman, Mr. White, he said something that was very, very critical. If you see something, say something. Because we're not in this thing alone. We all have to work together collaboratively. And so, yes, even in your communities. Because when I heard the information from Ms. Karen in our committee, it was puzzling. She's only limited in scope in what she could say relative to someone being found in a unit in our community. Who does that? It's madness. But we have to work together as a community to make sure that these situations are getting addressed. Economic Inclusion Committee, we met on September the 10th. And in that meeting, zoomed in online was Ms. Kiara, I think I said that correctly, Mrs. Kiara Brown, Mr. Brian White, Mr. Edward Davis, of course, the executive director, Mr. Michael Clark was there, Mr. Julius Norman, Alfonso Elbert Chair, and myself. We are really engaged, and we are coming up with great information about the way to move forward with prioritizing our action steps for what is to come next, our policy statements and agreement, and soon those will be smoothed out and you will get this information regarding vision statements, action statements, that we are working on, and I love the direction that we are moving forward in these committees. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Lewis. Vice Chair?
So in development, committee, we met, Monday?
Yes.
We met this Monday. No updates outside of kind of what we talked about, last month. You know, some of the things that we are doing in the process of doing definitely take time, but they have real traction. You know, things that we talked about as far as projects that are coming up last month. We're slated for next month to go to City Council for our entities that we want to create. Correct. For some of the 501 C3 and things of that nature. So once we get those, we'll be able to navigate and bring more traction to some of the developments that are coming throughout the communities coming. But we do have 300 homes coming for sure. It's exciting to be a part of the design of that and to be able to incorporate some of the programs that we have and the people to be able to live in these communities. I know we're hanging our hat on that commitment, you know, and we're excited to move forward. So as more things come up, we'll give you guys more information on some of the developments, the process that are coming.
Thank you, sir. I don't think we have a closed session. Item
We do not today.
Okay, so with that, let me just say before we leave, two things. Nathan, can you meet with Terrion and I for 2 minutes?
Yes.
Okay. And we have, to the other commissioners, we have council has appointed one additional person to the two that we need, and potentially another one that I will try to meet with sometime next week. So I will keep you all apprised as to what the status is with each of those. So with that, if there be no other business, I'll take a motion to close us out. We don't need a motion.
Yeah.